Right now, Tea Party activists rallying on Capitol Hill. Their goal to put heat on Republicans, the very folks they put into Congress, not to renege on their promises to slash government spending. This as Republicans and Democrats remain locked in a budget battle that appears to be coming down to the wire. This is a week and a day right now before a possible government shutdown. See the countdown clock yourself. Countdown to the shutdown.com. Anna Puig is co-chair of Kitchen Table Patriots, a Tea Party group. Anna, thank you so much for being here. So the Tea Party goes back to Capitol Hill today to try to bring what message to whom?
The message to our elected officials, to Speaker Boehner, to Harry Reid, that they need to do what it takes in order to fix the budget problem that we have in our hands right now. You know, the inevitable day of reckoning has come, Megyn, and we are out of money. And it's our taxpayer dollars. It's the people that are on Capitol Hill today that are protesting. It's our money that's being misspent. And we're saying enough is enough, and the government has to behave in the same manner that we're behaving across the country in our own households.
But what does that mean?
And that is by tightening our belts.
What does that mean? Because just so our viewers know, the latest from Capitol Hill is the Republicans who had promised to cut $100 billion now have proposed $60 billion, which passed in the House. But they don't think they can get that through the Senate because the Democrats control the Senate. They don't want that many cuts. So now they're coming back, and there's a talk about a $33 billion compromise. So they'd have $33 billion in cuts for this year, which is basically 2% of the federal budget. And the Democrats in the Senate, Anna, are complaining, saying we could agree on this $33 billion in cuts were it not for that darned Tea Party.
That's not enough. The compromise that they're trying to achieve is what has gotten us here. That is not enough, and that was not the promise that they gave us in 2010 when we helped elect them, when we elected them, because at the end of the day, it was the Tea Party movement that got these guys in Capitol Hill. So they need to answer to us. They have their marching orders, and the time has come, Megyn.
But they can't. They say they can't. I mean, I think a lot of these folks would look at you, Anna, and say, we'd love to. We wanted to do $100 billion. We couldn't. The best we could do was 60. And now, how are we supposed to get any of that through with a Democratic-controlled Senate that won't even agree to $33 billion in cuts necessarily, never mind 60 or 100 or more?
We did it in the 90s under Speaker Gingrich and President Bill Clinton. We were able to achieve, you know, not a compromise, but we were able to balance the budget for 4 years straight. What has changed in this country so fundamentally that we can no longer do it right now? Well, certainly an attitude
has changed.
I don't understand, and if they don't behave in a certain manner, if they don't cut the spending that they promised to cut, we're going to be back in 2012, and we are going to get them out of there, and we're going to put new people in their place.
And attitude has changed since the 90s, Anna. Let me get you to react to this, because we heard from Chuck Schumer yesterday. He didn't know that he was being recorded by journalists who were on the phone call, but he was. He thought the journalists were coming on later. No, they were already there. And they heard him talking about the talking points that are being circulated among the Democratic caucus in the Senate. And this is what this is how he describes the message coming from the Democrats who control the Senate in today's day and age. And here they talk about the Tea Party, too. Listen.
The only way we can avoid a shutdown is for Boehner to come up with a reasonable compromise and not just listen to what the Tea Party wants, because the Tea Party wants to stick to H.R. 1 with its draconian extreme, I always use the word extreme, that's what the caucus instructed me to do the other week, extreme cuts and all these riders. And Boehner's in a box. But if he supports the Tea Party, there's going to inevitably be a shutdown.
Your thoughts?
Shut it down. If that's what it takes, shut it down. It's been done before. It's worked. I think, you know, there's nothing extreme about wanting to balance a budget, about wanting to stop printing money. You know, if there's one lesson that I've learned from my parents growing up, Megyn, is that money does not grow on trees. And, you know, I think people like Harry Reid, for instance, they need to take a hard look at their leadership style. Look at what's happening in his state. 13.6 unemployment rate. 4.1 points above the national average. He needs to be over there working with his state on creating jobs. He needs to be showing leadership in Washington, D.C. on balancing the budget, cutting spending, and shifting power away from the federal government and into the hands of the states and the people of the United States. That's what we want.
What number would satisfy you, Anna? Because, you know, now they're talking about a $33 billion in cut compromise. The GOP had wanted $60 billion. Originally, they promised $100 billion. It's all teaspoons in the ocean. I mean, look at the deficit this year alone. Look at the deficit just this year alone. Never mind, you know, we've got a $14 trillion debt. So this is just this year. 1.4 trillion deficit. Overall, it's a $14 trillion debt. So, okay, 33 billion they're going to cut. 60 billion, it was what they really wanted. 100 billion in their dream world. I mean, it's teaspoons in the ocean.
No compromise, Megyn. 100 billion is what we want. We start looking at Obamacare, for instance. 105 billion earmarked towards Obamacare. How about cutting that? How about cutting all the spending, all the money that we give to foreign countries who hate us, and meanwhile we're supporting them and we're paying their bills? How about looking at that? How about looking at, you know, institutions that you have double institutions doing the same amount of work, the same kind of work? How about cutting that? That's a start. We can find the 100 billion in there, I'm sure, if we look hard enough. No more compromise. The American people are done, and the Tea Party movement is strengthening in numbers, and we're here to stay, and we're going to be back in 2012, and we're going to show our power to these guys.
Anna Puig, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Megyn.
All the best.